So one of the biggest questions that I've gotten lately is, am I doing pigeon pose right? Pigeon is a really tough pose to do on your own at home. It's hard to know if you're in the correct alignment. So I figured I would break it down a little bit for everybody today. So what you will need is a blanket. If you have one of these guys, that's preferred because it's nice and thick. But if you just have a regular throw blanket or something like that, that's totally fine. So you're going to want to fold it so that it's kind of this shape. And then we're just going to take the end and roll it up. So you're basically making yourself like a little baby bolster, right, about this size. And then just grab yourself a block as well. If you don't have a block, a particularly squishy pillow will work also towards the front of your mat. So today we're going to come in from tabletop. You might see pigeon in class where you come in from downward facing dog, and that works too, but I figured for the sake of breaking this down, it's easier to come in from tabletop, especially if your hips are really tight. So you're going to place this about where you think your hips and your pelvis are going to land. So I would say a little bit towards the front of your mat, kind of close to the center, and then just take your tabletop over it. So we're just going to take the right foot, step it forward, and then we're going to turn out at the hip. So your right foot goes over to the left edge of your mat. So see if you can even line up your foot with the edge of the mat. And then your right knee goes towards the right edge of your mat. So right knee is pointing out towards the edge, and then we're just using this to support ourselves. So when you come to walk yourself in, you should see your knee and your foot taking up a good portion of the front of your mat. So on a nice angle here. Take a quick look back at your left toes, dig them under, and walk them back a little bit further in a straight line from your hip to your heel. Walk your hands in alongside you, and then check in. So even if you have to look in a mirror or like take a video of yourself, we want the hips to square forward and sink down. So very often we'll kind of be leaning off like this, square it down. Now from there, you walk your hands forward and you can hold here. If this feels like enough, you stay right here. If you want to come down further, maybe you bring your elbows down to your block. If you have really tight hips here, hold for as long as you'd like. So I would say even up to like a minute or two. So again, check in with yourself. You can even touch your lower back to make sure you've got a nice flat straight line. Your right knee is still pointing out towards the right edge of your mat. And we take about, let's say 3 more deep breaths here, because it does take some time for this big muscle to open, right? From your lower back down to your upper thigh. And then just slowly walk the hands in and move the block to the side. So your hands are going to plant about in line with that front knee. We're just going to take it right back to tabletop. So however you need to get there is perfectly fine. I like to stretch my leg out afterwards and then bring it back in line. So you should have your blanket now in the right spot for the other side. So we're going to take the left foot forward and out towards the right edge of your mat. Your left knee goes to the left edge of your mat. And then we kind of sink into that support. So again, when you come to walk yourself up, knee is towards the left edge. You might even be touching the left edge of your mat with the knee. Square your hips forward, sink down. Take a quick peek back at your right toes, dig them under, and walk the knee a little further back. Nice straight line from hip to heel. Gaze forward again. And then you start to walk it forward. So you can stay up on your palms again. One side's always going to be a little different than the other. And then maybe you walk it even further down to your elbows. Maybe the block comes in handy. So pigeon pose in particular, we're never forcing. The more that you try to force your hips down, the less that they're going to yield. So this is all about patience, which I know is really tough. I'm not super great with patience. So again, check in with your lower back. You might even touch it. That we've got a straight line, one hip to the other. And then really use your breath here. Relax your face. And then slowly walk it back in, move your block to the side, and we step it right back to our tabletop. Oh. And there's your pigeon.